Hello everyone, my name is Narayan Annamalai, and I'm excited to talk to you about how Azure Network Security can help you strengthen security and increase agility of your cloud deployments. I'll begin with sharing some of the challenges and concerns that I'm hearing from customers and how Azure can help. I'll also share a few examples of what organizations like yours have been able to accomplish with Azure. I will then focus on the latest Azure Network Security announcements that help you secure your network infrastructure and applications. Finally, we'll close with a conversation with Illumio, a leader in Zero Trust microsegmentation, who will share more about how they are helping customers be more secure on Azure with the Zero Trust approach to network security. We have talked to many customers of different sizes and in different industries, and it is clear that security is top of mind for them. With the shift to hybrid work and the rapid growth of remote workers, there has been an explosion of unmanaged devices, which makes it harder for an organization to be secure and more vulnerable to an attack. And everyone is experiencing the effects of cyber attacks becoming more frequent and sophisticated, such as large-scale attacks like Colonial Pipeline and the rise of nation-state attacks across the world. On top of the security challenges in today's economic environment, customers want to keep things simple and be more efficient. Customers are overwhelmed with the complexity of solutions and options and are having a hard time optimizing costs and staying on top of their security work streams, which increases the likelihood of security risks. They want to reduce complexity while ensuring their organization is secure and focus on more strategic and higher value work. Zero Trust has become an essential security strategy in today's new reality. All data is ultimately accessed over the network, so it's important that organizations secure their networks through segmentation, real-time threat protection, and end-to-end encryption. Our solutions enable you to embrace a Zero Trust approach to network security by providing a granular segmentation controls to prevent lateral movement of threats, advanced threat protection by Microsoft Threat Intelligence to detect and respond to evolving threats quicker, and encryption of your data in transit and at rest. In Azure, you get comprehensive security to protect your infrastructure and applications across the cloud, hybrid, and edge environments. Security is a shared responsibility in the cloud. As a cloud platform provider, we are responsible for protecting the infrastructure that runs all Azure services. This includes essential capabilities like encryption of data in transit, DDoS prevention, Azure Virtual Network to isolate different customer networks, and Azure Private Link for private access of your IaaS and PaaS services. For securing the infrastructure you deploy and applications that you build in the cloud, we offer a range of network security solutions that are built to work best on Azure. To start with, we have an Azure Firewall to block malicious traffic and protect your resources within your virtual network. Azure DDoS protection is a multi-layered defense against most sophisticated DDoS attacks. And Azure Bastion for secure RDP and SSH access to your virtual machines. For protecting your web applications and APIs built on top of your infrastructure, we have Azure Web Application Firewall, which provides intelligent protection of your apps in Azure and at the edge. With that, I'm excited to share with you some latest announcements in Azure Network Security that can help you strengthen your security and increase agility. With the platform, we take an approach to be secure by default. We don't want customers to worry about if the platform they're running under is insecure or not. We want to provide secure ways to deploy your applications and services by default. Now, Azure Private Link is one of the services that provides you private and secure access to any service running in Azure. Private Link supports more than 60 services that works for both first-party Azure services as well as third-party Azure services. Now, today we're announcing a general availability of network security group support for private links. This provides the ability to enable advanced security controls, basically to increase your segmentation controls and limit who can access these private endpoints. Moving on with infrastructure security, we offer enterprise-grade infrastructure protection at hyperscale with cloud-native firewall as a service and massive DDoS protection mitigation and capacity. While organizations of all sizes face similar security risks, cybersecurity is rapidly becoming a top concern for small and medium businesses with a shift to remote work and new digital business models. In a recent Microsoft survey of over 150 SMBs in the US, more than 70% of SMBs said cyber threats are becoming more of a business risk. Almost 1 in 4 SMBs stated that they had a security breach in the last year, and they have reasons to be concerned. There has been more than 300% increase in ransomware attacks, of which more than half were directed at small businesses. SMBs are particularly vulnerable as they often have fewer resources and lack specialized IT and security teams to address security threats. In fact, less than half of the SMBs surveyed have a dedicated IT security person in-house, and SMBs cite a lack of specialized security staff as their top security risk factor. Enterprise solutions may be too complex or sophisticated and often too expensive. We believe that our security solutions should be available to all our customers. With that, I'm excited to share new updates that bring enterprise-grade, cost-effective network security to SMBs. We want to announce today that we're going with preview for IP protection SKU for our Azure DDoS protection. Now, DDoS attacks are becoming more frequent and advanced with attack bandwidth growing and new attack vectors emerging. You know that Azure DDoS protection offers cloud-scale DDoS protection to defend against the largest and most sophisticated attacks. Now, with IP protection SKU is designed for SMBs to deliver enterprise-grade and cost-effective DDoS protection. You can defend against L3 to L4 DDoS attacks with always-on monitoring and adaptive threat intelligence that is tuned to your normal traffic volume. With IP protection, you also now have the flexibility to enable protection on a single public IP address. Azure DDoS protection integrates seamlessly with other Azure services, so you can get real-time alert, metrics, and insights to strengthen your security posture. Along the same lines, I'm also excited to announce in preview a basic SKU of Azure Firewall. Now, Azure Firewall is our cloud-native firewall as a service that offers built-in high availability and cloud scalability to protect your resources within your virtual network. The basic SKU for Azure Firewall delivers enterprise-grade network firewall to small and medium businesses at an affordable price point. You pretty much get essentially the same network firewall capabilities like layer 3 to layer 7 filtering of east-west traffic as well as north-south traffic with built-in threat intelligence to block malicious traffic. As a cloud-native service, Azure Firewall is easy to set up, configure, and manage and requires zero maintenance. Azure Firewall integrates seamlessly with other Azure services like Microsoft Sentinel and Microsoft Defender for Cloud, so you can gain more visibility into your environment and identify and respond quicker to threats. We also have other exciting updates to share with you that you can use to protect your infrastructure and strengthen your security posture. Azure Firewall Manager can now be programmed to configure and manage Azure WAF and Azure DDoS protection plans. Azure Bastion has a native client support as well as IP-based connection support. Last, Azure Firewall now also supports policy analytics. Okay, with that, I want to move on to application security, where we really try to provide you end-to-end security of your applications, both by running protection globally at the edge, as well as running protection at the regional data centers. Azure Web Application Firewall provides intelligent protection of your applications and APIs running in Azure or at the edge. Azure WAF attaches to Azure Friend Door, our modern cloud CDN, to provide secure application delivery and stop security attacks at the network edge closer to the source of the attack with over hundreds of edge locations around the world. Azure WAF also attaches to Azure Application Gateway, a highly scalable regional load balancer to protect our applications within Azure. For global WAF with Azure Front Door, we have DRS 2.1 rule set and Bot Manager 1.0 rule set. DRS 2.1, which will be available soon, includes the latest Microsoft proprietary rules powered by Microsoft Threat Intelligence to protect against new attack signatures, increases the coverage and patches for specific vulnerabilities, and reduces the number of false positives. Bot Manager 1.0 rule set, which we released a few months ago, is also powered by Microsoft Threat Intelligence and support classification for good, bad, and unknown bots to more effectively defend against malicious bot attacks. For regional WAF with Azure Application Gateway, we have several recent updates that offer improved security, improved scalability, and better management of your web applications. Bot Manager 1.0 rule set will be generally available soon for WAF with Application Gateway. You also have the flexibility to exclude certain rules to reduce false positives and meet application-specific requirements. As I mentioned earlier, now more than ever, organizations need a zero-trust approach to address today's biggest security challenges. Segmentation is a critical element of zero trust in preventing lateral movement and data exfiltration, and specifically microsegmentation, which is segmentation of your network at the individual workload level, is becoming more important for an organization to secure an expanding attack surface and protect against emerging types of cyber attacks like ransomware. To further discuss the security challenges of hybrid cloud and approaches to solving them, it gives me great pleasure to welcome PJ Kirner, CTO and co-founder of Illumio, the Zero Trust segmentation company. Welcome, PJ.
It's great to be here.
PJ, you have heard me talk about network security challenges and the relevance of zero trust for Azure customers. How does this align with what you have observed as you have helped your customers secure their hybrid multi-cloud environments? What threats are they concerned about?
Illumio's mission is to prevent breaches from becoming cyber disasters. And we do that through providing our customers a zero-trust segmentation platform. A number of the trends we saw when we started the company were compute was becoming more dynamic, and applications were changing the way they were architected and built to become more and more connected. And the third trend we saw was the rise in people's concern about attack surface and lateral movement. And ransomware, the rise of ransomware today is one of those things that takes advantage of poor lateral movement controls inside people's environments. Most of Illumio's customers are hybrid. They worry about attacks pivoting from on-prem when a user clicks something to the public cloud, or we've seen other attacks come from the public cloud and pivoting back into on-prem where high-value data exists. What we see, and aligned with the presidential zero trust mandate, is companies adopting zero trust strategies, and specifically people having zero trust projects around microsegmentation, and that's where Illumio helps.
And how specifically are you helping your customers who leverage Azure to better secure their applications as they migrate?
As you said, public cloud has a shared responsibility model. Microsoft and Azure are responsible for the security of the underlying platform, and the customers are responsible for the security of their applications and data. One of the first things we see when we do some of these segmentation projects is people start with visibility, and they want to sort of see visibility across the clouds, across hybrid environments, and that's a key starting point for knowing how to do one of these projects. And a lot of people are migrating to the public cloud. They're doing a digital transformation project, and having visibility of the application before it moves, understanding how it might be connected, maybe it will tell you, oh, these are easier to move and you should prioritize these first, and maybe these are more highly connected and more complicated, and we need to put a little bit more thought into that. In addition, Illumio's segmentation model is label-based, so it actually moves transparently wherever the application is. And then lastly, we launched a product a little over a year ago called Cloud Secure, and it's set up to solve this problem of distributed ownership where multiple groups actually own some of the security controls. And while CSPMs focus on configuration and drift, Cloud Secure actually looks at configuration, but also looks at the behavior of the application and takes those two things into consideration and recommends least privileged security models that you can program back into the application level security controls inside Azure.
So as you expand your capabilities in this space, you pretty much have visibility and control of lateral movement covered across the board. What's the next natural thing for you to enable for your customers and specifically for Azure customers?
So Illumio has had agent-based segmentation controls since we started the company, and people have taken those to the public cloud, to Azure for years. And we've introduced in the past year agentless-based controls. And those agentless-based controls actually directly integrate with the Azure APIs and take advantage of the Azure platform. The first thing we have is integration for the flow logs, being able to ingest that flow data and be able to build a map of how things are connected and how things are talking to each other. And there are opportunities to bring more types of logs, more types of telemetry to provide a richer map to our customers. In addition, there's label-based rules. So that's a core tenet of our segmentation system, and being able to automate the Azure controls to be able to become dynamic and adaptive to the segmentation policy, as well as the changes to the workloads that occur across Azure and across hybrid or multi-clouds. And so I actually believe there's a lot more opportunities in terms of integration with Azure to provide visibility and automation of controls for Azure customers. So I'm really looking forward to the continued partnership with you and with the Azure Network Security team to increase the visibility and connectivity between these services and really provide a consistent way to have secure applications. And this helps Azure customers to support their zero trust and cyber resiliency initiatives. Narayan, I have a question for you. How does what I said line up with what network security is doing in Azure?
In Azure, we are committed to providing end-to-end security. Like I said earlier, security is a shared responsibility. It starts with us, the cloud providers, in providing a secure platform for customers to run their infrastructure and applications, and providing the advanced network security functionality such as DDoS, next-generation firewall, and secure private access to harden their footprint. We top it off with application protection at the edge, globally and regionally with WAF. Illumio's ability to provide full visibility of the application traffic and implement policies at the application level is very complementary and completes the Zero Trust network security solution in Azure. Thank you, PJ. I really appreciate you joining us and sharing your insights on how Illumio is helping Azure customers achieve Zero Trust and be more secure.
Great. Thanks for having me.
In summary, I want to highlight how Azure Network Security can help you strengthen your security and increase agility. Azure Network Security services can help organizations address Zero Trust by providing segmentation, intelligent threat protection, and encryption. You can protect your critical data and resources with news queues designed for SMBs that deliver enterprise-grade network security that's cost-effective and easy to use. Lastly, take advantage of the latest updates to Azure WAF for enhanced protection of your web applications and APIs against web attacks and vulnerabilities. Now, I want to share a few examples of how companies are benefiting from adopting Azure Network Security to secure their network infrastructure, applications, and as part of their Zero Trust strategy. OBB, Austria's largest mobility service provider, chose to run its business-critical ticketing platform on Azure to gain greater scale to keep up with growing demand. OBB needed to ensure the reliability and security of their platform, as any downtime would have a significant impact on their business and customers. they deployed Azure Network Security Solution to secure the network infrastructure and applications. They used Azure Firewall, Azure Bastion, Azure DDoS Protection, and Azure Web Application Firewall. Azure Network Security Services integrated seamlessly with the rest of their Azure environment and provided the high availability, scalability, and advanced security capabilities that they needed. With Azure, they trusted that their environment is secure, freeing up their teams to focus on their business need. They also gained scalability and flexibility to continue to meet their growing requirements. Another story is of Nationwide Building Society. Nationwide, the world's largest building society with over 16 million members across the UK, was focused on improving the digital experience for its members and moved its main public website to Azure to increase agility, security, and resiliency. To ensure maximum security for its website and compliance with specific UK regulations, Nationwide Building Society deployed Azure Web Application Firewall to protect its web applications from common web attacks and vulnerabilities, and Azure DDoS Protection to defend against DDoS attacks. Both are Azure native services that integrate seamlessly with the Azure platform, which help Nationwide accelerate the speed of application development and gain more control and visibility into their security environment. With Azure Network Security Solutions, Nationwide gained confidence that their web environment was secure and compliant, so they could focus on delivering the best experience to their members. Okay, that brings us to a closure, and I want to share with you some resources for you to keep learning more about Azure Network Security. Please also check out other Ignite sessions where you can explore the latest innovations across Azure infrastructure. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you soon.